Leaving the hotel room this morning, I was pretty excited to go down to Bear and finally see her after being away for a couple months. This is us pulling into St. Mary's Boat Services, and we're coming around the bend where Bear had been, and suddenly she's not there, but she was over here to the left. They had moved us across the yard for whatever reason, and we quickly located her. She's covered in this new shade cloth that Rhonda, who does some contract work for folks at St. Mary's Boat Services. Rhonda had put this shade cloth together for us, but we quickly realized that we couldn't get aboard because there was no sort of entryway in the shade cloth. I got on the phone, gave Rhonda a call. She was quickly down there, and as you'll see in a second, she got us an entryway in the shade cloth. But it was nice to get back down to Bear. We were certainly a little anxious about quite a few things about the boat. How dirty was she on the top sides? I was really worried about the batteries. We had plugged her in and thought we had the battery charger going and stuff like that, but didn't know, whether something had broken with that, and our pretty expensive 8D batteries, could have been run dry, and that would have been a problem. We were also worried about how much mold was aboard and stuff like that. Fortunately, when we finally got aboard, which you'll see in a second, we found that the boat was in pretty good shape, and the batteries were fine, and there was some mold, but not too bad. And we got started on a couple different projects, mainly just kind of assessing different jobs and measuring things, and taking different pieces off the boat so that we could order new things to repair or to replace them with. We're going to be here on the boat for the next 2.5 weeks or so working on it, and we have a long list of things to get accomplished. We're already pretty certain we're not going to get through it all, but we're going to kind of chip away as much as possible and figure out how to get the other things done before we splash in the spring as well. Sitting here on the boat, getting starting to work on some jobs and stuff like that, even just coming down to the boat, I was getting a little anxious, getting a little, it was a little daunting to think about how much we needed to accomplish on the boat, and to think about how many of these jobs we have no freaking idea how to do. My extent of working with fiberglass is, marine texting, a hole in my sunfish or something like that. We got some pretty significant fiberglass work to do on the boat. Just a whole lot of jobs, working with some of the plumbing, redoing some of the through holes and stuff like that. Things that I just have never experienced before, and we don't know how to do, or we haven't, we don't know anything about it beyond, reading in a couple books, a Don Casey book or something like that about it. And I was feeling pretty overwhelmed when we first got aboard the boat today, and worried that we weren't going to be able to accomplish any of these things, or many of these things. But eventually I just decided that we'd take it one thing at a time, and it also helped quite a bit that right from the cockpit of the boat, you look out on the little creek that we are on, that is comes right off the St. Mary's River, and so it meanders through the marshland there. And out right in this bend that St. Mary's Boatyard is on are 3 boats anchored out. And every time I came topside, see it right here. Well, you won't really be able to make out the boats, but you might be able to see the boats, or see the creek that I'm talking about. But I'd come up and take a look at these 3 boats that were anchored out, and just think how much I wanted to be out there. And it reminded me that the work that we're doing is going to enable us to be out on the water at anchor, enjoying our time together, this coming summer and beyond. But in the meantime, we got to get some work done in order to make the boat more comfortable, make the boat safer, make the boat a little bit easier to use and stuff like that. And like I said, we'll just take it one job at a time, and we plan to kind of take you along on some of these jobs over the next, like I said, 2.5 weeks. We'll put up a couple more videos, and we're certainly going to be blogging. We already put up 2 posts that go into detail about the work that we did aboard today, and some of the things that we're already buying big order that we put in tonight so that we can get some other work done. So check out our blog posts at Return to Seasons and stay tuned here on YouTube for some more videos.